Hey guys, in today's video we'll be going over the Lakota Teepees and discussing how you guys can use these in your games for some fun strategies. So starting things off, the thing to know about the Lakota is that they can't build any walls or houses, and they rely on teepees as their defensive building as they boost the attack and hit points of your units in a small area around them, as you can see here. So these teepees provide a 10% hit point bonus to troops in the surrounding area, and this bonus is based on the base HP pool of the unit. So in this example, the elite tracker has a base HP pool of 375, and when he gets in range of the TP, he now has a total HP pool of 412, or an increase of 37 HP, which, if you remember math, then that was 10% of their hit point pool of 375. This 10% bonus also applies to their attack if you've gotten the card to increase your unit's attack from the TPs as well. It should be noted that this effect is not affected by any damage taken. So if a skirmisher had hit me and I was down to 350 HP instead of 375, it would still be, the boost would still be based on the total HP pool, of 375. So it is not affected by damage taken, just by your total HP pool. So now that I've gone over how the TPs work and the stats around them, you might be wondering all the different ways that you can boost your unit's hit points and attack. And, well, you're in luck because I've already done that for you. So along with the TP boost, the Lakota also have a troop called the Teshunki Prowler, which is a melee cavalry with a splash attack whose stats scale based off of how many Teshunki Prowlers are in the vicinity. So for each additional Prowler nearby, their attack goes up by 10% of their base attack, and their hit points increase by 5% of their base hit points pool. Now, interestingly, this effect actually scales after the TP bonus effect has been calculated. So if the Prowler has 341 base HP, then with the TPs they get up to 375 HP, and then the Prowler 5% base HP bonus from the Prowler buff applies after the TP HP bonus is calculated. So it'll actually take 5% of 375 HP rather than the 341 HP. So that's pretty nice, and if you didn't understand any of that math, just know that the effects are stacking in your favor, and we're going to end up with some big numbers after everything is applied. So now we've gone over both the Tashunke Prowler stacking effect and the TP bonus aura effect, but we also have other ways to increase the base HP of your units overall. So this is my Tashunke deck that I have built, and some of the most important cards within this are the War Chief. So this will improve your Teshunki Prowler siege damage when next to your War Chief. And then we also have Nomadic Expansion. TPs are cheaper, harder to destroy, and you can build more of them, so it increases the TP build limit by 8 is the important call out there. Then we also have the classic Cavalry damage by 15%, Cavalry hit points by 15%, and then same thing in Fortress Age, Cavalry hit points and damage by 15%. These are all very crucial if you want your Cavalry Teshunki Prowlers to be maxed out. Then we also have New Ways, so this enables certain European arsenal improvements. So the main ones you're going to want are the Cavalry Cuirass upgrade, which is 10% bonus to HP, and then the Pillage upgrade, which is a 25% extra building damage, helps with the raiding and surviving. Then we also have Friendly Territory. This one is extremely important as it's the card that allows your TPs to now boost the attack as well as the hit points of your units. Then we also have Riding School, so just trains your cavalry faster, just in case they die, get them back out faster. This one's not that important, just boost your War Chief by giving him an extra attack. Marauders is a crucial card. Teshunki Prowler build limit is significantly increased, so I think instead of 11 you can now build up to 22 of them with this card. Then we have Mustangs, so it just decreases the cost of actually building them, which is nice because they're very expensive to build. And then we have Dakota Support, which is another very crucial card, so it delivers 5 to Tashunki Prowlers, but it also increases their hit points by 25%, which is a big boost, so definitely a really good card to get. And then lastly we have Center of Power, so now your War Chief is able to be stealthy, so the Prowlers can enter stealth mode, and this also allows your War Chief to enter stealth mode, so now you can have a fully stealthed army that's raiding the enemy in this case. And then lastly I should mention you can get a 10% HP bonus boost from the Horsemanship big button from their farm as well. So those are kind of all the card upgrades you can get to boost your Teshunki Prowlers or just other cavalry units in addition to the TPs. So this deck is specifically around a Teshunki Prowler cav box strategy where you're basically taking all your 22 Prowlers along with your War Chief and basically raiding all the enemy buildings. So for that, it's extremely effective. If you just want to boost all your units normally, then you could just sub these Prowler cards out with just general infantry or cavalry cards. And then just in addition to the TPs, you could go about it that way. So it just kind of depends if you want to go primarily for a Prowler raiding strategy or if you just want to go for a general unit strategy along with your TPs. Finally, they can also use their ceremonies, such as Victory Ceremony, for an additional 27% damage to all units increase. And they can also send Charging Ceremony to further increase their siege damage, making the Teshunkis even better at raiding enemy buildings and villagers. So in the best case scenario, within all these TPs, the Teshunkis can get up to 5,000 hit points and an almost 600 attack. I mean, these statistics are just crazy. And obviously you won't be getting this many TPs in a normal scenario, but you could probably get around 6 in a normal scenario and just set it up as a forward operating base outside of an enemy's base. So while you might not be able to get up to 5,000, it can still be very effective. Outside of these TPs, they would have more like 770 HP and 88 attack, which is still incredibly deadly and very good for raiding enemies. So as we see, the Teshunki bonus is very good, but not nearly as big as just the TP bonus alone. And this TP bonus can apply to all units, even team shipments. So what we found is that you can send other team shipments to improve those units that have already have insane base stats. For example, the Guard Spahi, which starts with just 1300 HP, when surrounded by all these TPs, has over 9000 HP and almost 480 attack. I mean, these stats, the way they boost is just so crazy. Not only that, you can also send Team 2 mortars. Your mortars will have 2000 health. It's going to be so hard to kill these mortars with 75% range resist. I mean, you can just be shelling the enemy base and these guys are going to be almost invincible. You can also send an infinite shipment of Team 5 Jaegers from the Germans, which is probably the best shipment to combine with this strategy, as they'll have an insane 1680 hit points and 256 range attack at 20 range. So these guys will just be one-shotting guys before they can even shoot them once. I mean, this is just insane with these Jaegers, the range on them and the damage. Though literally 2 of them could just one-shot an enemy fully upgraded skirmisher or musketeer at that level. So all in all, this TP bonus is pretty crazy, as you can see. Now this is a theoretical scenario, you won't get this many TPs in a real game, but I'm going to actually go ahead and hop into some real gameplay so you guys can see what kind of strategy you could do in an ideal scenario with these guys. But even in a not ideal scenario, you can still cav box with these Prowlers and your War Chief in the middle for an additional boost to attack and siege damage. And these guys cav boxing will just melt buildings in seconds. And all you really have to watch out for is enemy anti-cav dragoons and things like that. You can still kill them, but the thing you have to remember about these Prowlers is each time one of them dies, all the other ones get weaker. So it's really a downward snowball effect. So as soon as you start losing a few of them, the rest of them will die extremely quickly. So you want to keep a big mass as long as you can with these guys. So let's go ahead and hop into some of the gameplay so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So in this game, this was a 4v4. My friend was playing the Lakota to build the Teepees and the Teshunki Prowlers, and I was playing the Germans to provide him with my team shipments of Team 2 mortars and then the infinite Team 5 Jaegers, and basically set up a defensive position around these TPs next to the middle trade post. And this was a narrow map, so this is a pretty perfect place to do the strategy because it's essentially blocking the 3 enemy players from doing anything. This is on Pampas, I believe. And so we were basically just holding that choke point, and then I sent Team 2 mortars, and we just started shelling the enemy base. Now, what we didn't do well in this case, actually, was after we broke through initially, we should have slowly moved up the TPs. In a realistic scenario, you probably just won't be able to get all of the TP bonuses. So you might just want to do some leapfrogging of build 6, and then shell, and then move up to another 6 TPs. And it would still be very effective, but it's more practical than just sitting in one area, unless you're just trying to have fun, which we kind of were in this case. You can also send the card to allow your infantry units to build the TPs, which makes this strategy a lot easier, because you can basically have a front line of infantry units, and they just build TPs very quickly. And this strategy is actually a lot more practical in that situation. So you could have maybe 30 Wakina rifles as your front line, and they just build the TPs for your mortars and your Jaegers to come up to, and then send your Prowlers in for economy and raiding damage. Now, ironically, this game was actually the first game we encountered someone on the enemy team doing a Teshunki Prowler cav box, which is kind of funny since it's the first game we were actually trying to do this ourselves. But yeah, you can see how deadly his strategy is. So he's using his hero in conjunction with the 22 Tashunke Prowlers fully upgraded, which allows them to just have an insanely high siege damage. And he's just going around to all of our buildings, destroying all of them. He can stealth back out. He can run away because they're incredibly fast. They're very hard to actually catch. Um, so yeah, they're pretty hard to counter actually. In this case, if you're facing against an opponent who's doing this, the best strategy is just to go hit their own economy because they're going to have no defenses at their base because they're Lakota. They don't have any walls or anything. The best way to play with the Lakota player is wall them in for them since they can't defend their own base. But if the enemies aren't doing that, then you can just hit the Lakota economy, which we ended up doing later on. And once he was out of the game, it was pretty easy to wipe up the rest of the players with their own prowlers and Jaegers and so on. So yeah, all in all, I think this is a very fun strategy. I had a lot of fun in this game, just kind of holing up in the middle of the map with mortars and Jaegers next to all the teepees and towers. Made for some pretty fun gameplay, in my opinion. So if you guys like the strategy, try it out in your own games. Let me know how it goes. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifications so you can see more videos like this. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.